Anyhow, I'll be doing the iOS 7, iPhone, iPad presentation today. I want to go over a couple things with lynda.com, and then I'm just going to open it up to questions, any and all questions that you might have. And I have to ask, is there anybody new here for the first time? We got a couple new ones. Okay. 3. Okay.
Is there a prize?
Huh?
Is there a prize?
No.
Oh.
Not a prize.
We have a $100 gift certificate.
There's not a prize.
If you go through a contest.
That's right. Okay, so if you are new, the meetings are generally here 95% of the time. They're on Wednesday at 11:30 and they go to 1:45. Most of the time, the first meeting of the month is a Q&A session handled by our president, Jerry, right over here. I say most of the time because usually the second meeting of the month is the iOS 7 meeting, but because I'm going to be out of town skiing, they changed the calendar. Now, then the third meeting of the month is again Q&A with Jerry. And the fourth meeting of the month is iLife with George, right here. George. If there's a fifth meeting, it's usually a guest speaker that we can podcast in, and we've had excellent speakers from all around the world, really. A lot of them from Macworld, and those are really great meetings to attend. Anyone can attend these meetings. It's open to the public. If you want to become a member, it'll really set you back. It's $20 a person, $25 for a family membership. And members get special privileges, which I'll quickly go over. First of all, you can get on our message board and you can post questions, and you, believe me, will get all kinds of answers. The second thing is you have access to lynda.com. I'm going to go over a couple of those educational things today on the iPad, but lynda.com has thousands of courses online, and the club has 5 memberships, and as long as you're a member, you can email George, and he will get you a week's worth of sign up on lynda.com, and then after that week, if there's more time available, you just email George and get another week, and so on. Third benefit is we do courses. They're 3 hours each at Hodges University. They start around mid-January, they go through mid-March, somewhere in that area. There's usually 8 or 10 of them. I understand this year we're going to have 3 or 4 on iOS topics, 4, 2 of which I'll be doing. And then we'll have some on Maverick,
iPhoto,
iPhoto.
contact, and we're open for one last question.
Okay, great. So those courses are $10 each?
Yes. Each session is
Each session is $10. So if there's 2 sessions on Mavericks, 2 weeks, that would be $10 each week. Those courses are only open to members. So if you're not a member and you come every week and you're wondering why you can't go to those courses, you got to pay your $20 to be a member. We also have one meeting on the third Monday of the month. It's usually a guest speaker or somebody podcasts into that meeting, and those are good as well. On our site, and there's applications in the back table. You can get the website from that. Our treasurer is in the back, Don. If you want to join today, see Don. He takes cash. I don't know, he's the treasurer and he always sits in the back row. I don't understand that. It's supposed to do the delivery. Anyhow, on the site there's very useful information. Jerry has taken the time and trouble to post several articles by Chris Breen, who is a very noted and respected publisher and senior editor at Macworld, and he has probably 20 or 30 articles out there, 50. And then we have started recording the meetings, so if you miss a meeting, you can go on there and you can see the recording. Okay, so with that, I've got a couple things I'm going to do. I had some inquiries about cases on iPads iPad Airs, the new iPad Air, and on the iPad Mini. And I've had 4 different cases that I've personally tested, 3 of which I've returned. And the 3 I returned, one of them was the Apple case. I just don't like those folding cases. It's personal preference. It was the most expensive one. The other 2 were ones that I got at Target, and they were pretty nice. One of them was very nice. And I just decided I really didn't like them. I ordered a couple on Amazon that I really do like quite a bit and had them before. They're poetic. They come in 2 different finishes. This is the one finish. These are the minis, but I'm going to pass these around. The one for the Air, for the MacBook Air, is the same material. It's the same thing. It's the same slots and everything. It's what I'm using today. It's just, of course, bigger. These cost about $5 each. The ones for the iPod Air cost about $12, and they are on Amazon.com. Search for Poetic. So I'll pass these around, and you can take a look at them and just make sure I give them back. Any questions on the cases?
What was the brand name?
Poetic.
Poetic?
Yeah. Okay. So, I mentioned lynda.com, and they have all kinds of training courses that are available. How many in here have used the lynda.com? Okay, about 3/4 of the people. One of their latest courses is on iOS 7, and I thought I'd run through, for those who haven't used it, and even for those who you have, just a couple of these videos to show you how this works. And is this on?
Lights on.
Yeah, it's on.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the course. This is how a typical course looks. It tells a little bit about the course. Here's what the course looks like. They come up on the web browser, and here's the name of the course. And I'm not going to go through all this. With this particular course, you'll see this instructor, but here's his name. It tells the subject of the course, and this entire course is 8 hours and 21 minutes. So I've got dinner ordered for later tonight. No. We'll go through just a couple of these. It was released just a few weeks ago. And then, this is typical of their courses. I really like it. They do it by subject, and then it'll give you the time of each little video. And you can always go back and replay them. They put a little thing here if you've completed that. I haven't completed many in this particular one yet, but I picked out a couple that I wanted to play. So I want to do this first one, and under syncing with your computer. I'm going to play this one right here. A lot of people always have questions about syncing with the computer, so I'll just touch on that. Hopefully the sound will come up. Let's let them work on that. Does somebody have a question I might answer?
Might be the right. This might be.
Yeah, I do.
Yes, Don.
This is the developing layer, actually.
I have an iPhone 5,
That's what
Yes.
I bought for that.
and it's always worked. Suddenly, over the past week, I have 5,000 emails.
Well, that's because you're a popular guy.
The biggest problem is I can't get rid of them except one at a time. And if I do that, I'll be dead before
You mean actually delete them, not mark them as read.
No, I just want to get rid of those 5,000 emails.
Yeah, I don't know that, yes, Jim.
There have been times I've run into where I've used the sort of cancel function.
Yes.
Where that puts the dots in front of the emails and then try to delete them and then they don't go away. 99 times out of 100 when that happens to me, if I shut the phone down and turn it back on again 5 minutes later, most of the time that works.
Tried it.
Tried it,
Okay.
it didn't.
Yes.
Georgia Mosier. Don, what kind of email account are you talking about?
Comcast, our
Is
favorite.
it Gmail, Comcast, Mac, what is it?
Comcast.
All right, if it was Gmail, I would suggest you go on your, does your computer, do you sync your Mac with your iPhone?
Yeah, but I cancel them all out, pretty near every day.
All right, do you know what Jerry, this is does Comcast have an IMAP account now, or is it all POP still?
They have, apparently they have started offering IMAP.
Well, Don, I would try, does the problem appear on your Mac as well as your iPhone, or just your iPhone?
No, just the iPhone. And the problem is related to individuals' email accounts cancellation. I can't get more than one at a time.
That's not the right one, George. It was the other one.
Not
There
this
you
one.
go. Okay, you got it.
That's the one. But same problem.
Don, one idea, I'm just throwing this out. Would you try to, no, never mind. Now
We're gonna get back to you on that.
I did, I got rid of them like
I have one suggestion. So I don't know if this works, I don't know if this addresses your problem, but you know, when you're in your email, you can hit edit, and then you just go down.
Yeah, but you have to do each one.
You do. Okay, great. I know, that's true. So that you are aware of that. Fine.
Just a second.
I had that problem, and I called Apple, and they had me go into the accounts, where your accounts are set up, and they were duplicated in there. So I deleted the duplicate account, and they just disappeared. And no problem since.
So I need to call Apple.
No, you don't need to call Apple. They didn't do it, I did it. That's what they told me to do. You
How
go
do
in
you
where
get
you
rid of
set
the
up your
duplicate?
accounts.
How do you get rid of duplicates?
They just
In the
went away.
account.
did you delete the account and then start it again?
No, it was duplicated. I don't know how it got duplicated. In other words, it was in there twice. And I just deleted it. And that was
What
the
did
end
you
of it.
delete?
The account.
You go into settings and where you have accounts,
No idea.
Oh,
Settings, mail.
Okay,
and it was in there, some of them were in there twice and so on. Some of them I never heard of, I just deleted them.
okay.
Try it.
I'll give it a try.
When it comes to syncing the data between your iOS device and your computer, you have the choice of doing so by connecting your device to your Mac or PC with the included USB cable, or you can do so wirelessly as long as your device and computer are on the same wireless network. But in order to sync wirelessly, you do need to set up your device first by connecting one end of the included USB cable into the device and the other end into your computer. If iTunes isn't currently open on your computer, it may open once your device is detected, but that depends on a setting that we'll look at shortly. If iTunes doesn't open, you can go ahead and open it manually yourself. And here we're looking at the main iTunes window. Depending on how you have iTunes configured, you access your device in different ways. In this view, I see this button up here that currently says 2 devices. And when I click it, I can see that my iPhone and my iPad mini are currently connected. Selecting one brings up that device's information. Or if you have the sidebar visible, which you can see by going to View, Show Sidebar, you'll see your devices listed here on the side under Devices. Personally, I like using the sidebar, so I'll leave my iTunes window configured this way. So the first thing you should see when you select your device is that the main part of the iTunes window is organized into a series of categories. You can see that Summary is currently selected. Under Summary, you can find your device's vitals like its name, capacity, software
It's
version,
hard to
and
hear
so
you
on.
people. There's a text.
Incidentally, if you want to change the name of your device, just click its current name and type in a new one. This might be helpful if you have more than one of the same iPod in the house and you want to make sure your name is associated with yours. Over here in this area, you'll either see a message telling you that your iPod, iPad, or iPhone software is up to date, or you'll see a message that a newer version of the software is available. Apple frequently releases updates to iOS, sometimes fixing bugs, other times adding major new features. Generally, it's a good idea to update to the latest version of the software when it becomes available, although some people prefer to wait a few days to see if the new software introduces any issues for any of the iOS devices. But when you want to update, just click the Update button to download and install the software. Or in this case, I can click Check for Update to have iTunes check for new software. And you can see that at this point, I'm using the current version of the software. This is also where you'll find the button to restore your device. There may come a time when your device is acting just plain weird. Maybe it's not booting up right or it's locked up. Now, there are various fixes and solutions you can find on Apple's website and other places, and we'll talk more about this in the chapter on troubleshooting. But as a last resort, you can also click the Restore button to return the device to its factory new condition. And I say it's a last resort because restoring completely erases the device and installs a fresh copy of the software, so you'll lose all the items currently stored on it. If you back up your iPhone, iPad, or iPod regularly, which again we'll talk about doing in the troubleshooting chapter, you should have copies of everything in iTunes anyway, but it does take time to recopy everything back to your device. Next we have the Backups section. And this is where you can choose to back up your computer to iCloud or to your computer. We'll talk about backups in its own movie near the end of this chapter. Under the Options section, we have several options or checkboxes. Now with my iPhone selected, the first item here is automatically sync when this iPhone is connected. So when checked, your iPhone will automatically transfer and receive new music, calendars, contacts, and so on that you've added to your computer or phone. Well, if I go over here and select my iPad, notice the first option here is Open iTunes when this iPad is connected. And that's pretty self-explanatory. With this option checked, iTunes will open whenever you connect your iPad to your computer. Let's switch back to the iPhone. So next we have Sync with this iPhone over Wi-Fi. This is the checkbox you want to check if you want the ability to sync your device with iTunes without connecting it with the USB cable. I'll cover this option in its own movie at the end of this chapter. Next we have Sync Only Checked Songs and Videos. With this option checked, iTunes won't include any unchecked files when it copies files to your device. And that's referring to the checkboxes that appear next to all the files here in your library. So if I didn't want certain songs here to be included, I could just uncheck them. But I'll leave all this checked for now. These next two options are designed to save space on your device. The first, standard definition videos, when checked, will copy standard definition movies to your device rather than the high def or HD versions, if you happen to have both versions of a movie. Similarly, if the music you have in your iTunes library is encoded using a high bit rate, meaning you have very high quality audio files, you can check this option here that says Convert Higher Bitrate Songs to, and then select a different bitrate from here. And that will allow you to reduce the file size so you don't take up as much space on your device. I'm just going to leave both of those options unchecked. The next option is Manually Manage Music and Videos. And I selected this option before I started recording this movie you're watching, so my iPhone and iPad wouldn't be copying a bunch of files while I was talking. This is the option that lets you manually drag songs and videos to your device, rather than letting iTunes move files automatically for you. Notice on the iPad that Sync Only Check Songs and Videos is grayed out when I have Manually Manage Videos checked. Now the question often comes up here is which option is better, manual updating or automatic syncing? And it really depends on whether you prefer the control of manually managing your iPod, or if you prefer to set up some rules and playlists to determine what gets copied to your iPod. And we'll look more at the syncing options in an upcoming movie. So those are the items and options you'll find under the Summary tab when you connect your iOS device to your computer. In the rest of this chapter, we'll work our way through the rest of these categories and see how to manage the contents of your device. Now let's take a look at how to get music, videos, and ringtones onto your iPhone.
Okay. So George, how do I get back to the main menu there?
I think you can scroll
Hit
down.
escape.
Oh, scroll, escape? Okay. That didn't help. Oh, here they are. So where we were was right here, and we played this first one. Now you can see in this course, syncing with your computer, I mean, there's several educational videos on different things that you might want to do. So I just want to show you as an example, one more that I wanted to play. And it's down under, so they have these broken down. Here's iPhone parts. But the one I wanted to do is email. And just, I want to play this one real quickly. A lot of people have questions about email, so we'll play this one.
Mitch, can I have a question on the?
Now let's take a look at how to set up your email account on your iOS device without having to sync it with your computer. Start by tapping the Mail app.
What do I get?
If you're currently not managing any email accounts on your device, you'll see this screen, which lists 6 of the most popular email services around. We have iCloud, Microsoft Exchange, Google, Yahoo, AOL, and Outlook.com. And all you have to do here is tap the name of the service you use. iCloud is Apple's free online or cloud service for storing your content, and it includes a free email address. You might have created an iCloud account on your device when you set it up. Next is Microsoft Exchange. You'll most likely only have an Exchange account if that's the email system your company uses. Also listed here is Google, which you probably know offers a free email service called Gmail. And you can also get free accounts from Yahoo, AOL, and Outlook.com, formerly known as Hotmail. Now, you can't register for a new email account for any of these services from this screen. This screen is only for setting up existing email accounts. If you'd like to set up a new account, you'll have to visit one of these services on your web browser and sign up. Once you've set up an email account that you want to manage on your iPhone, iPad, or iPod Touch, you can come back to this screen. Now, these are the most popular services, so Apple has made it easy to just enter a few pieces of information to set up your accounts. If you have an email account with a provider that's not listed here, you'll just tap Other and go through a slightly longer setup process, but we'll look at the other options in another movie. But if you have an account for one of these 6 services, setting up your email is pretty easy. So let's say I have an iCloud account. I'll just tap iCloud, and all I have to do here is enter my Apple ID and password. I'll tap Next. Now when you have an iCloud account, you'll see this message asking permission for iCloud to use your device's location information. Among other things, this lets you use the Find My iPhone feature, which gives you the ability to find your phone from a web browser if you've lost or misplaced it. I'll talk about Find My iPhone later in the course, but I highly suggest that you do allow this. So I'll tap OK, and that's all there is to it. I now see these options to determine what portions of my iCloud account I want to sync with my iPhone. Now this part is unique to setting up an iCloud account. We'll look at another type of account in a moment, but for now I'm just going to turn everything off except for Mail because I just want to sync with Mail for the moment. Oh, and I'll leave Find My iPhone on as well. And then I'll tap Save. And that takes me right to my inbox, where I can now see my incoming mail and read and respond to it. All right, let's set up another account. Now, once you've set up one account, you no longer open the Mail app to set up additional accounts. Notice tapping Mail just takes me right back into my iCloud mailbox. So instead, to set up another account, I'll go to Settings, Mail Contacts Calendars, and here I'll tap Add Account. Now we see the same Add Account screen we saw before. I'll select Google this time and set up a Gmail account. Here I enter my name, my email address, my password, and then I'll just change the subscription since it's kind of long. I'll just make that Gmail. So this is all the information I really need to enter. My iPhone will recognize that this is a Gmail account, and it will perform the rest of the setup for me when I tap Next. Again, I can choose which services from Gmail I want to sync, and in this case I'll just leave Mail selected, and I'll tap Save. And now I see both my iCloud and my Gmail account listed here in Settings. I'll click the Home button, and you might have noticed this badge that appears on the Mail icon. This lets me know how many new messages are waiting for me in my various email accounts. So I'll tap Mail to open it, and to access the email from either of these accounts, I just tap their name under Inboxes. So here's my Gmail email, and it's pulling the Gmail name from the description box that I typed into a little earlier when I set this up. And here's my iCloud inbox. Alternately, you can tap All Inboxes, which lists all of your incoming email with the most recently received messages listed from top to bottom, regardless of which inbox they belong to. This is a nice way to quickly check all of your new email without having to switch back and forth between accounts. And that's how you set up your email on your iOS device if you use iCloud, Exchange, Gmail, Yahoo, AOL, or Outlook.com. We'll look at how to set up email accounts other than these in the next movie. If you have an email account that isn't one of the 6 types that the iPhone, iPad, or iPod Touch can set up automatically for you, maybe your email account is through your internet server.
Okay. Any questions on lynda.com?
This guy talks way too fast.
All right, well, there's an advantage, if he talks way too fast, you can stop it, play it over, and I also believe, isn't there a setting somewhere?
Well, there's a
Slow it
transcript
down.
also, you can read the transcript.
Or you can read the transcript.
I think down in the in the bar right at the bottom of the screen there, you see it says 1x. I think that's the speed, and if you click on that, you can set a half speed.
See, and there's also
1x,
transcript.
That one.
Right there.
Try that.
Yeah, see,
Try-
there's a 3/4 speed and a half speed there.
Try
Would you
that.
try one of those?
Yeah, we'll try the 3/4.
Provider or through the company you work for, you can still manage your email on your device. Start by going to settings.
How does that sound?
Mitch, would you also hit the transcript button so people who want to read, hit the transcript
Yeah.
to show them? Georgia Mosier, thank you.
No, we're just doing it.
It was down at the bottom.
Just roll,
It's down the bottom.
Just scroll, it was on there already.
There it
Right there.
is.
Yeah, there's transcript.
I think they have that automatically now since they updated their program.
Yeah. They have an excellent course on Mavericks. It's also,
Is it out yet?
yes, it's out.
Yes,
I think it's by Chris Breen.
yes.
There's another fellow who's done one as well. So they're rolling these out a lot quicker than they have in the past.
That's why they're talking so fast.
But I guarantee you, like what I like to do on the Mavericks is I like to play the lynda.com, which you can do on your iPad, and then I'm pulling up the Mavericks stuff as the guy's talking on my screen and playing around with it. And you can pause and go back, and you can also mark them. There's a place, if you're going through a video and you particularly really like this one, you can mark it, so flag it, so that when you come back 3 weeks or 6 months from now and say, where was that one I wanted to play again, or it was so important, it'll be there. They keep those marks.
And it's, Linda's tracking everything by your account.
Exactly.
Each of us have a different account.
Exactly. So,
Says my course is up on the right.
yeah, my course is right here.
How expensive are they?
No, they're, if you're a member, they're free.
For
They're
one
free
week at
for
a time.
1 week at a time. You email George, you say, hey, I'd like this week, is it available? He'll email you back and say, yeah, it's available, or it's not, I've got these weeks open. What's your calendar look like now in weeks, George?
Almost through the end of December, I think through the middle of December.
And please email him directly, please do not email through the discussion group. All 300 members on the discussion group do not need to see your request.
Ruben George at Mac.com.
RubenGeorge@mac.com.
And I'm constantly sending out updates as to when I have time available and so forth.
Yes.
Georgia Mosier, if you want, if you're in a particular learning mode and you've got the time, you can buy a license through Lynda personally for $25 a month. And that's what some of us have done when we're getting ready for courses, or we just got a movie project or something where I say, I really want to look at my own time in the next month. And $25 isn't bad for a month at a time.
Here's our buddy Chris. Here's the, I guess this Mavericks, is this Mavericks just introductory ones? Apparently it is.
I don't think he's got a full screen of
He's not, he doesn't have a full one yet. But there's a full one out there that another gentleman did.
the tutor from.
No, there's one in here too.
Okay.
Um,
Probably Garrett.
Type in the search field.
Let's see,
It's right in
somewhere.
Go over to subject and search on Maverick.
Here, it'll be right here. It'll come up.
Mavericks Essential Training.
Right here.
That's the same one.
Right here?
Yeah, type in Mavericks.
So that
No, that was new features that he had, I think, was essential training.
Essential training is the long one.
Yeah, right here,
Yeah.
different author.
Yeah, different author, and it's a long course. And I've done part of that one. It's pretty good. It's a little different than Chris's approach. But an excellent service, and I highly suggest you take advantage of it. I actually have my own membership now. Yes?
Carolyn, no, I haven't done this, and what kept me from doing it was the fact that you do this for a week, you get it for a week, you sign up and get it for a week, but then you referred a minute ago to, you can mark it, flag it, and go back later. We get to download something that we can keep?
No. No, but it'll keep it, if you sign up for, if you sign up for a week and you flagged a couple things, and let's say you don't sign up for another 2 months, and you say, oh, I want to get back to that, and you email George and you get another week, and you go into that course, it'll have everything there for you.
I see, okay, good.
And if you want more than 1 week, just request that. And if I have space available, you can get more than 1 week in a row. Some of the people take 1 week a month and they book it for 6 months. So just let me know whatever you need. Go ahead.
Yes, Marilyn?
Marilyn, aside from what Georgia mentioned about getting your own membership, you can get it for a month or you can get it for a year if you really want to do a lot of the courses. You can also, on some of the courses, you can actually buy DVDs of the course.
But they're quite expensive.
They are expensive, but I mean, if it's something, like some of the photography courses are absolutely outstanding, but if you are really interested in that, and you want to go in depth, and you want to have that as a reference, that's another way that you can have it, Free is great, but it depends what you want to do with it.
It's,
What do they cost, man?
They're like usually $25 a disc or something, and I don't know how many would be it would depend on the course, I think, how many discs it would involve.
Also, you can Google the fact that you might want to take a course, and there's a lot available. And Tutor for is somebody else we recommend.
I'm not sure his number.
And his courses are anywhere from $3.99 to $9.99.
Good. Thank you. Okay, here is actually the one that George was talking about, is we've had this gentleman speak. Here's the tutor from Mavericks that I just bought. You can buy it on your Apple computer as well. Again, I prefer to buy it if it's available, and it came out a week or so after the one that came out at on the computer app store. I prefer to buy it on my iPad so that I can play it on the iPad and then do the stuff on my machine, on my Apple machine. But here's his, so I'll go ahead and bring it up real quick. This guy.
You have to switch to Windows.
Okay.
Let's see if we get sound this time.
Well, let's see.
Welcome to Tutor for OS X Mavericks. In this tutorial, we're going to talk about OS X Mavericks, Apple's operating system used to control the Macintosh computer. So what are we going to cover in this tutorial? Well, we're going to start out with getting to know your Mac. We're going to talk about terminology as well as migrating from the Windows environment. From there, we're going to look at getting around your Mac. We're going to start out with taking a look at the Finder and Finder windows. We're also going to look at working with the dock, working with the menu bar, OS 10 folder hierarchy, as well as searching with Spotlight, working with tags, which is new in Mavericks. Then we're going to go into using the contextual menu and using gestures with a trackpad. From there, we're going to look at setting up your Mac. We're going to look at system preferences, how we can set up multiple users, guest accounts, parental controls, set up security and privacy, as well as printing and scanning, iCloud.
Okay, so that's an example of his. His are really good. They're really simplistic. Usually when he goes over a subject, he'll go over the subject. He'll say, these are the things we're going to go over, 1, 2, 3. Then he'll go over the things in detail. At the end, he'll say, now what we did was we went over 1, 2, 3. So he sort of, I've noticed that about him. And they're very good. And he gets high review ratings. I did email him and ask if he's coming out with one on iOS 7, and he said that he probably was not, because there's so much material out there already on iOS 7 that he probably wasn't going to get to that. He did just release one on iMovies.
Yes.
And any others lately?
I don't think anything new. Mavericks was in our movie, but he's got, if you find it useful, he's got a large library. I think I've downloaded about 7 of his tutor applications on different subjects.
Did you say he has the iMovie, the new iMovie out?
He does.
Yes.
I thought he said he was sending it to Apple this week.
Yeah, I didn't think he had it.
Well, what's that? Let's look.
Well, we'll check it.
Can you repeat, Brenda Somerville, can you repeat his name again?
Yeah.
For tutor?
Tutor 4, T-U-T-O-R.
Do it for
Oh, that's the,
Yeah, just search Tutor 4. Or just go to the App Store, either on your iPad or your app.
Numeral 4 or word 4?
F-O-R.
thank you.
And he responds, I mean, we communicate, Jerry and I are always in communication with him, and he's a really good guy. I don't know how he makes a living, he must be retired from the armed forces.
Is that it right there?
Yep.
I don't think
Okay.
it's.
No, that's 11, no, that's 11.
That's not it.
It's 10.
Well, let's just.
I don't understand, they're going backwards now. They never used to.
Here.
On his
Is
website.
this it? Right here? No?
Go to his website, which is what? Noteboom.com, noteboomproductions.com.
Okay.
They have a new iMovie
Right
on the
there.
iPad and a new movie on
Right up there.
the Macintosh.
Yeah, they're both there.
But I think it's 13 iMovie.
I think it's 10. Strange.
This is what they know.
Okay. But his are also excellent. So what I need is I need a volunteer to go into lynda.com for a couple weeks and do the iOS 7 tutorial, so you can take over my job.
Yeah, he's gonna probably get fired.
I have a question. I'm Eckhart.
Eckert.
A few weeks ago, you gave a presentation on iOS 7, and you used both iPhones and iPads, and you talked about the notification center. You slide down and you get the weather information and even how long it would take you to go to your office.
Yes.
You talked about that a lot, but also the stock market.
Yes.
And I was really impressed by the quick availability of the stock list that I personally can establish within an iPhone. And I was very happy about that feature. I don't have to look for an app, push anything, I just slide down, here's the stock market. Promptly I bought the new iPad, and I was sliding down and trying to get the stock list, only to find out that iOS 7 is not iOS 7. There's an iOS 7 for the iPhone, and there's an iOS 7 for the iPad, and they are different. The stock listing is not available in the notification center under the Today View for an iPad. And I'm just wondering, with all this excitement about iOS 7, I would like to have a clear-cut definition of the difference between iOS 7 for iPhone and iPad. And my question is that available? Because I now have the iPad, and by trial and error, I find out what I can do on the iPad and not on the iPhone and vice versa. But I haven't found anything yet that will tell me about all these wonderful authors, Green and so forth. What is the significant difference between the usage of an iPad and an iPhone? And I just wonder, do you have an answer to my question? I'm disappointed, frankly, that the stock function is not available on an iPad. And in order to find out, of course, I had to Google it and finally find some chat forums that will tell me that's not available. But it's not clearly spelled out.
Did you call Tim Cook?
He called me back, and unfortunately, I was paying God.
The short answer is no. There is only one, as far as I know, there's only one iOS, and it has to do with the internal functioning of the device. So it's just like on an iPad, you don't have the flashlight function. Well, the reason you don't have the flashlight function is that there's no flash on an iPad. You don't have a couple other functions like that because it's not, there are certain things that only the phone does. Now, why the stock, you would think the stock thing would be on both devices, but I have no explanation as to why it's not on the iPad. I'm in that business and I don't use that. I actually use, if I'm away from the office, I generally use CNBC, but I have a very extensive list of securities in there. I have them categorized, and it doesn't. If I did it on that device, I mean, I'd be just scrolling all day, 40 or 50 items that I'm following. Yes.
I just Googled differences in iOS 7 on iPad and iPhone.
Yes.
And there's a chart which shows the different iOS features that are available on each iOS device that's out.
Can you give him the site? Maybe
So there's
there's
your
that
answer,
site.
and it shows exactly what's on each device.
Okay.
Can you post that later, Scott?
Sure.
Thanks, Scott. Yes, Don.
Eckhart, how do you get the stocks on the thing? You're talking about when you swipe down from the top. I just get phone, mail, New York Times, and FaceTime. How do you get stocks?
Well, you go into the notification center, and under the Today View, you can click stocks for that to show up. Then there's a stock app that comes with the iPhone.
Right.
And of course, that's the way it works.
Thank you.
Yeah, you have to turn it on in the notification center. Questions? Yes, Scott.
On that first video,
Yes.
it seemed like the guy said when your phone is on the iTunes display, you could drag something onto the phone. Is that correct? I don't sync movies, but let's say I was going on a trip and I wanted to put one movie out of many, or video or something, onto my phone.
I think that's what he said. I don't do it that way. So I can't tell you. I hook, when I'm adding movies or music to my device, I hardwire the device into iTunes, and I go to the tabs at the top and select what I want.
Well,
Yeah, but it's all or none, right?
No, you can select individual ones.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Don, in the movies thing, there's a choice, all movies or selected movies. And once you click to select the movies, then you have the opportunity to pick a particular one that you want to move.
Thank you.
Let's see if this is, I want to see if this is working now. We got our technical problem solved, is that right?
Yes, sir.
In this final chapter, we're going to be looking at some solutions for the occasional times in your day-to-day use of the iPhone, iPad, or iPod Touch or they might start acting a little weird. Maybe an app keeps quitting unexpectedly, or maybe your device isn't connecting to the internet. If your device is acting strangely, you can refer to this chapter for some things you can try. The first thing I always recommend trying, whether it's an iPhone, iPad, iPod Touch, your computer, or any other electronic device, is to restart the thing. It always surprises me how some people will never try the very simple step of restarting, which fixes many temporary problems, before they start getting into all kinds of complicated attempts to fix an issue. So we've seen this one before, but to restart your iOS device, hold down the sleep wake button for a couple of seconds until you see the slide to power off slider. Then slide to turn off your device. Wait until you see the screen turn off. The screen might go blank, but for a moment the device will still technically be on. Once your device is completely off, hold down the sleep wake button again and power it back up. And once you're back at your home screen, check to see if that solved your issue.
Any other specific questions? Because I'd like to go through a couple more of these troubleshooting items.
Well,
Yes.
on iOS syncing, when I went to Mountain Lion and iOS 7, I did click that it could sync by Wi-Fi.
Right.
I want to reverse that. How do I get out of that? Because it's syncing and doing bad things to me.
Okay. Actually, you just uncheck the box, and let me go to that. That was one that I was going to play and I did not play, so I'll play it right here. It's just a couple minutes. He talks about how to set it up, so this is, you would just do this in reverse.
So far in this chapter, I've been showing you how to sync your iOS device with your computer by connecting the two of them with the USB cable. But it's also possible to sync your device with your computer wirelessly. Now, in order to set this up, you do have to connect your device to your computer with a USB cable at least once. When you do that, and when it shows up here in iTunes, go ahead and select it. And then under the Summary tab, scroll down. And here, check Sync with this iPhone, iPod, or iPad over Wi-Fi. And then click Apply. Your phone will now sync with iTunes anytime it's on the same network as your computer, and when it's connected to a power source, maybe while you're charging it overnight. I'm actually going to unplug the USB cable from my iPhone right now. You might have noticed that the battery icon disappeared here, indicating that I unplugged it. But the phone still appears here in iTunes. Now, officially, according to Apple,
I want to go back and you'll see that. Just you might have missed it. But just look right over here, and you'll see when he does that. When he unplugs it.
on my iPhone right now,
See the
you
battery?
might have noticed that the battery icon disappeared here, indicating that I've unplugged it. But the phone still appears here in iTunes. Now, officially, according to Apple, you need to plug your device into a power source in order for it to sync. But right now, it's not plugged into a power source, but notice I can still select it and work with its settings, even though it's not physically connected to my computer. So, for example, I could go into Music, and maybe just grab some songs and drag them to my phone.
There you go,
Okay.
Doug.
You can see it's uploading to my phone.
There you go, Doug.
I'll select a couple more here, and drag them over, and let's switch over to take a look at the phone. You'll know your device is syncing by this little spinning sync icon that appears up in its menu bar. Just make sure you're in range of your wireless network while syncing is going on.
Right.
So this is great for times when you're at your computer, but maybe your iPhone is sitting on its charger in another room of your house. You can still sync it without having to go get it and attaching it to your computer. Now, for times when you want to sync your device with your computer, but you're not sitting at your computer, maybe you just added a contact to your address book on your phone, and you want to make sure it gets added to your computer's address book, you can go to Settings, General, and here find iTunes Wi-Fi Sync. And on this screen, all you have to do is just tap Sync Now to manually sync your device over your network right away. Now, Apple says that you need to connect your device to a power source in order for it to sync, but it's been my experience that you can unplug your device once it shows up in iTunes, and it will continue to show up and work properly. I think the reason Apple wants you to keep it plugged in is so the battery doesn't die during a sync or backup. So it's still a good idea to keep your device plugged into a power source if you're going to be transferring a lot of content to or from it. But as you can see, you have the convenience of being able to easily sync your iOS devices without having to plug them into the computer.
Mitch, if you notice on that settings screen though, there is no button to turn the thing off.
No, you uncheck it.
You uncheck?
There's no checkbox on it.
No, on your computer.
No, on your computer. You have to
iTunes.
plug it into your computer and scroll down, and you've got sync Wi-Fi, and you'll want to change it to sync to this computer.
On the Mac?
Yes,
In iTunes on the Mac.
in iTunes on the Mac. It has nothing to do with the setting on here.
Okay, all right.
But I'm curious, what problems is it causing you?
Well, on my iPhone, I like to import all books, 100% of my books, and I don't do that on the iPad. And all of a sudden, if it syncs by itself, like in the middle of the night,
Right?
I find that it has synced, no, I've got it reversed, all books here and some books here.
Right.
If it syncs in the night, this one reverts to selected books. And then if I go someplace and I'm expecting a PDF to be there, it's not, because it's synced right out of there. Because the setting on my iTunes setting for how many books, whether I want selected books or all books,
Yeah.
when I sync the iPad, I check all books, synchronize it, and then sometimes during the night, it resets to selected books and resyncs, and they're gone.
Okay.
So I have to really make sure if I need the stuff that's on here, I have to keep it unplugged in and iTunes off. I quit iTunes to keep it from syncing accidentally.
Yes.
My experience is that each device has its own set of conditions, and what's happening shouldn't be happening. So I would try doing a hard reset or maybe a factory reset of the one that is acting up.
The device.
Yes.
Okay. Well, look at that.
The other thing is that if you, I don't know if this is your problem, but if you go into settings, and I believe it's under
iCloud.
iCloud. No, it's not under iCloud.
Well, the Wi-Fi sync is under general.
No, I'm looking for the, oh, here it is, it's under here. If you go under iTunes,
Where are you? Settings?
settings, iTunes Store, automatically download, and then it could be that, you don't want to automatically do the download to your one device, but you do to the other.
No, I like the automatic download.
Okay.
If I buy an app, I want it to populate.
No, but it's got music and books as well. You said the problem was with books.
Yeah, but I had that on.
But that's downloading from the App Store, isn't it?
Yes.
No, these are PDF files that I have imported through
Ah,
scanned
okay.
documents. They're local,
Okay.
so.
Yes.
Are you having a problem with just strictly the PDFs? But I
It
am.
attempts to revert back and eliminate my PDFs and stick with just the books.
Right. I can't, is there a way, maybe this is a stupid question, but I'm getting confused. Is there a way to take your PDFs from the iPad and bring them into the computer?
I'm not sure.
Whenever I've had to do that, George, I've used Dropbox.
Yeah, Dropbox.
Yeah.
No, I used Dropbox originally to get them into the, when I went to Mavericks, it appears that I lost, and I opened iBooks. None of my PDFs are on there.
That's.
And I think I Googled that, and I think everybody's having that problem.
There's been a lot of discussion in tidbits about
Right.
PDFs and iBooks.
That's my problem.
Yeah, I would go to the tidbits discussion and search. I don't know that there's an answer, but there's been a lot of discussion in tidbits.
But if you go to Tidbits now, your account, do you have an account with Tidbits?
No, well, do we?
Well, have you bought stuff from Tidbits? Have you bought stuff from Tidbits?
I think so. What?
I Control Books?
Take control?
Yeah.
Yeah, take control.
Okay, then you have an account with
Yes, I
them.
do, yes.
If you go to that account, you can bring them back in, and it gives you an option of bringing them right into iBooks.
These are PDFs of documents. that
Oh, yeah,
she's
right.
used to write.
And also, I can correct it very easily.
No, but I lost all the Take Control also.
Oh, that's
online.
odd.
I think they're all there. Mine are
No,
all
what I
there.
do, my fix is, if I notice it, I
They're
just click all, sync all books, and I resync. And then it corrects itself. It's just if it accidentally syncs. So I really want to eliminate the Wi-Fi syncing, and if I look on my Mac, I'll see if I can find out how to do it.
Now, it's very interesting. These are all my PDFs that are on my iPad, which is where I want mine. And I get them there in various ways. But none of them are on my phone.
Well, none of them are on my phone by choice. I don't want them there, so it works all right on the phone.
You want them there, Mitch, right?
I don't want them on the phone. I just want them on, but I want all of them. Now, and the other thing that you can do is you can assign them to, you can do different categories.
Genre? Yeah.
Collections. Yeah.
Collections.
I've done
Collections.
that, right.
Okay. So what again is the problem?
Well, what I have here, I sing in the choir, and I have all my choir sheet music scanned in, and it's PDFs. And I bring to choir practice and for Sunday, just the iPad.
Okay.
Okay? So imagine my consternation when one day I show up and nothing's there. I've got my take control books there, I've got my automobile owner's manual there, but no music. And what happened was, it synchronized and eliminated my sync all books, which is how I get all my PDFs in there.
Have you tried putting them in another application, like in Good or something?
No, I like it in books.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm having the same stuff.
Is this a copyright problem which you had with iBooks?
No.
No.
PDF.
Well, the only ones I get are the ones that I've selected. I'll try Mitch's idea. If I eliminate the Wi-Fi syncing.
Okay, yes. Marilyn.
Marilyn here. This is not to solve her problem, but what I do is I do an automatic Wi-Fi sync, and then occasionally I'll go back and hook up my device to the computer and back it up on my computer. So I have it on the cloud and on the computer through iTunes. And the reason I do that is because a lot of times the apps that update on your device don't update on your computer. So it's like a double protection.
That's a good point, and I do the same thing about, I don't do it religiously. Every night when I plug in my device, and I do mine every night.
Plug it into what, your computer?
No,
Yeah.
plug it in to be charged, and I'm in a Wi-Fi area, and every night it's backed up automatically. So, if you go to my settings and go into iCloud, it should show that right here. Last backed up was right here. Now, I do that with my phone and with the iPad, but I also do exactly what Marilyn said. I don't have any religious schedule for it, but every 2 or 3 weeks or a month, I'll hook it hardwired into my computer and go in and uncheck that box.
Or you don't even
Back
have
up.
to do that, you just say
Back up to my
back up
computer.
to the computer.
The one thing I don't like about the cloud backup is that when you restore from a cloud backup, they only give you 2. They don't it's not like they give you a restore from 2 months ago. There's only a couple variations there. At least that's been my experience. Whereas if you back it up to your computer, they're all there. Yes.
Occasionally I'll work myself through an application to a point that I want to go backwards, and I can't. As an example, if I go into, I just had it here, the one to search. Yelp. And you go in and you identify a location of a store, and you hit the nav, which brings up the graphics and the map. I want to go back and get a phone number, perhaps. I've got to go way back to Yelp and start over again because I can't get out of the graphics. Is there a way to do that?
Not that I'm aware of. It would have to be something in the app that would allow you to go back, and that's not one that I use. Yes?
Jim Korska, I too have done what you and Marilyn described, and I do it basically out of ignorance, because I'm not exactly sure what is being saved and where it's being saved, so I just do it because I think the hard wiring is a safer backup system. But the question I have is, one of the things that it backs up is the apps. And on iTunes, there are apps that are on my iPhone that don't run on the computer. They're iOS apps. So why are they on the computer? Why are they in iTunes on my computer when they don't run on Mountain Lion or Mavericks or whatever?
Yeah, they're just identified there. If you look, Jim, it'll say iOS, it'll say iPhone apps, it'll say iPad apps, it'll say, it might be a category both. And that's just because that's where they will keep them. They'll keep a copy there so that if you plug I'll plug my device in when I do the hard wiring that Marilyn was talking about, and it'll say you got 50 apps that need to be updated on your computer, and I'll just hit update. But I think.
But on the actual bits and bytes on my computer, or is it a marker that basically tells iCloud to download that?
It's in the computer.
Yeah, it's in the computer.
And if you really dig, you can find them on your hard drive.
Yeah.
It's for the backup.
If you when you connect your iDevice to your computer and you turn on iTunes, when it says back up to the cloud, it says essential information is backed up. When you back up to your computer, all information is backed up on your device, and that makes a difference when you buy a new one and you want to have your new device be like the old device. You want to have a full backup that is in your computer.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Scott Silver, I have an iOS 7 question. We're supposed to be able to swipe down on an iDevice to see the Spotlight search field, but I get the notification center when I do that.
You're not swiping in the right place.
You're not swiping in the right place. You have to swipe. You swipe from here for the notification, and you swipe anywhere in here for the search. So if I put my finger on here and swipe down, it comes up. It's a little tricky.
Finger specific, thank you.
Yeah. Yes, George.
Jerry, when you bought you have the iPad Air,
Yes.
right? And you backed up your original iPad in iTunes, right?
To my computer, yes.
Right. And you had PDFs on there in your books.
Yes.
What'd you do then when you bought the new Air? Did you plug it into your computer?
It said restore from the computer.
Okay, okay. Do you happen to know where those PDFs are on the computer?
I used to know. I don't know where iBooks put them. But yes,
I mean, they're there, but I can't find them.
I'll search and send out a message. But they were there.
So okay.
Good.
Mitch,
Yes.
I would just add to the fact that when you do the double backup, don't automatically back up to both things.
What do you mean by?
Well, if you're doing a Wi-Fi backup, if you're doing a Wi-Fi sync to your device, you don't want to do an iTunes sync
Why not?
because you could get double. What you want to do, the only way you should do it on, if you're doing a Wi-Fi sync, correct me if I'm wrong, Jerry, if you're doing a Wi-Fi sync automatically, then you shouldn't automatically sync to your, like when you plug in, I think there's a choice where you can plug into your,
There is a choice.
to your iTunes and automatically sync, so you don't want to do that and automatically sync Wi-Fi. What I was saying is if you automatically sync Wi-Fi, don't check when I plug into iTunes Sync, leave that blank. But when you do plug in, then hit backup.
Right.
Mike's making that clear, I don't,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think there, Marilyn, there might be a terminology problem in that I don't sync it all to iCloud. Haven't gone there, don't do it. But I have a setting that says sync wirelessly, and it's syncing to iTunes wirelessly. I don't get involved with iCloud at all.
What's that?
I've heard all these stories about duplication and stuff, and I'm not gonna go there
Well,
yet.
you will
I'm not
get
even-
duplication if you're syncing to iCloud and you're syncing to iTunes automatically.
But I'm not syncing to iCloud ever, at all.
But when you sync to iTunes, how does it get to your,
It gets there wirelessly through my Wi-Fi network,
oh, okay, all right,
or through when I hardwire.
right. Well, I wasn't suggesting you were doing that, I didn't want people to be confused that you should
But you can
sync to
sync
both.
wirelessly either to iTunes or to the cloud. It's not, yeah, or both. So syncing wirelessly does not imply iCloud.
Correct. But if you have them both set, you may get duplicates on your iDevice.
And I don't. That's one
Right.
reason I haven't done that.
So.
I've had no problems with duplications on iCloud, and I've been using iCloud for a long time.
Yeah, but that's why I wanted to clarify that it's not, syncing is different than backing up, even though those terms are used interchangeably. So when you go into iTunes, make sure that when it says syncing automatically when you plug in and syncing wirelessly are not both checked.
Yes.
Did you say you do? And you don't have a duplicate problem?
I don't do it that way, I do it completely separately.
You don't?
When I hardwire into my computer, I'll go in and I'll turn off the sync to iCloud, and I'll hit sync to this computer. And I'll do it, and when it's done syncing, then I go back and I turn back on sync to iCloud.
Or you can say backup,
Manual.
right,
Yeah,
and then that will not create the duplicates.
I've had no problems with duplications at all. I've had several instances where I've restored from iCloud and it works seamlessly. I've not had a problem. I just had when I updated mine, my wife doesn't even know she has an iPad 3. So she had a 2, and I took my 3 and I erased all the data and set it up as a new iPad, because you got to put your codes in now with iOS 7, so that if somebody steals it, they can't break it and break into it. So I set it up, and then I said set up as new, and then I put in her iCloud information and so on, and restore from the cloud. Came right down, looked at the iPad 2, looked at the iPad 3, they were identical. Closed up the iPad 2, put it in my office, changed the cases, put it in the bedroom. She doesn't even know. She doesn't watch this video. She hasn't watched one yet. So.
They're changing the files.
Scott.
I'm having a problem addressing group names in mail. I put in the group, the name of a group using mail. It does not populate the group name. I have to.
On your device.
You're talking about an iOS 7?
No, on the computer, on the iMac.
On Mavericks?
Mavericks.
Read my article from last week in Naples, it does not work.
It does not work. So I have to open the group and then highlight the names I want and then move them, click to copy them. That's what I've been doing.
Come, ask the question next Wednesday and we'll show you again.
Okay.
Okay, we're out of time. I thank you very much, and I'll see you later on.